We're live. Wow.
Here we are.
Hey, everybody.
This is our TV channel.
So we're live. So welcome. My name's Nick. I work here with Mark. Obviously, you know Mark.
Hi, everybody.
We're going to start it off with one of maybe potentially 10 happy birthday announcements to Mark's wife, Linda.
Happy birthday, honey.
Happy birthday, Linda. She's awesome. She holds it down. For those of you who know her, you know Mark does a lot of this speaking at Skillfully Aware. There she is saying hi. Linda holds it down. She's an amazing person. So, hey, Linda, happy birthday. Awesome. And so we're just going to take 1 second to kind of share this to make sure we have as good of a discussion as we can. So if everyone wants to, you can kind of click on the 3 dots on the top right there. Hey, Mark. Other Mark. We got 2 Marks here.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead. You can Mark. You can do this too. So click on the top little dots there.
Okay.
And then I guess ours looks a little different because we're actually doing it. So everyone else should be able to see a thing. It was like share this. So when you see a share button, go ahead and click share. What you can do is you can invite friends of yours. You're like, oh, I know my friend Mark would want to definitely go to this Facebook Live. So there he is. You can share it, or you can literally just share it on your timeline. So you can click share, send the entire TV channel essentially to your timeline so your friends can see it. Sorry, Mark Braun, I'm sure this part's boring, but hey, everybody else, and please feel free to comment. We can see a little wave there from Linda, Skillfully Aware. So everyone, please give a wave or a like. If you hear something you like, click like. If you hear something you love, click love.
And you can also hit those like thumbs up things. And all right.
Hey, Wendy.
Hi, Wendy.
Yeah. So yeah, please feel free
Give us some love.
Let us know you're here. Let us know you're watching. If I have any family in the room, feel free. I think I might have at least a mom here as well.
At least a mother.
We have a mom potentially
At the very least,
from Minnesota on here. So I'm going to try to find her, make sure she knows what's happening. And yeah, so beyond that, we can kind of slowly get started and let everyone know. So please, Mark's going to go into detail kind of about the topic of the Facebook Live and kind of what he's thinking when he says what's the most important thing to do right now. So he has a lot of great details to go into that, but please ask questions, interrupt, make comments, say what you're thinking as well so we can have more of a discussion. If you have any questions, you can message Skillfully Aware, email us, anything. If you're like, how do I get on this? Just send us a message. We'll send you the link. We should be all good there. So
okay.
yeah.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, totally.
Nick's our awesome impact producer. There's no way I would be able to do this on my own. I'm not of the generation that knows how to use Facebook very well. So thanks, Nick.
Totally.
Thanks for joining us. This is kind of exciting. It's like having your own TV show. I wanted to talk today about what is the most important thing to do now. And I mean, admittedly, a lot is up for most of us. There's some divisiveness in our public discourse right now. No matter what side of the aisle you're on, people have stress in their lives. A lot of parents are feeling very stretched because it's hard to raise a child in our culture these days. There's stress at work, and there's uncertainty, economic uncertainty with a lot of people. Folks have not only stress, but illnesses related to stress. And we also have a lot of environmental problems, like global problems that we're facing now. And so when I say a lot's up, I really mean it on all the levels of our living system. We're feeling stressed. And so given all these problems, what's the most important thing to do in the face of these problems? And I have some thoughts about that. that I'd like to share, but I want to start with a story to help frame my thinking around an answer. So I saw this amazing YouTube. No, it was a TED Talk by George Monbiot. He was an English naturalist, and what he gave his talk on was the reintroduction of wolves in 1995 back into the Yellowstone ecosystem. They've been absent from that ecosystem for 70 years. And in their absence, predictably, without the sort of the apex predator being there, the deer population just exploded. And when deer populations exploded, they moved into every single niche of the park. And they fed voraciously on the young saplings that were growing on the sides of the canyon walls. And pretty soon, in a lot of places in the park, the deers denuded the ecosystem of vegetation, and that had a horrible effect on the rest of the animals, and the ecosystem was sick. But in 95, some naturalists got together and they reintroduced the wolves. Not a lot of wolves, just a few wolves. But interesting thing happened. Despite being few in number, the presence of the wolves immediately changed the behavior of the deer. The deer realized that these organized and social wolves that hunted in packs, that the deer would be susceptible to predation if they stayed in the slot canyons and some places in the park where they were easily ambushed by the wolves. And so some of these areas in Yellowstone, deers just left. And within a few years, the saplings were able to grow, and the tree height in 4 years was 6 times the size. And an amazing thing happened then after that. I'm getting chills just telling the story.
Yeah, you are.
Beavers returned because, of course, beavers need trees to feed on and to make their dams. And when the beavers returned, beavers are also sort of a linchpin species where the healthy ecosystem that supports beavers and their niches, the ponds that are created and the spaces that they create also support a whole other abundance of other wildlife. And so muskrats and fish and mollusks and all kinds of plants and skunks and raccoons and you name it came back. Migrating birds came back to nest in the trees, and the wolves also fed on the coyote populations and thinned those populations, and so there were more mice and rabbit. And then birds of prey started to come back in, and the vegetation then supported the growth and sort of biomass of abundant bear species coming back. Not species, but just the brown bear came back to Yellowstone, and all of this stuff happened because the wolves were introduced. That's called a trophic cascade, and it's even farther than just the plants and animals getting better. The geology of the park changed, meaning because the plants came back and stabilized the banks of the rivers started winding less and cutting deeper grooves in the canyon floors, which supported the beavers and the more fish, and I mean the whole thing from the top of the food chain all the way down to the moss and the microbes improved. So again, that's called a trophic cascade. And that's what's possible in living systems, where if you do just one thing and you do that pivotal one thing, a whole bunch of other positive system changes begin to also just generate by themselves. It's like they feed all of that life energy just supports itself in this positive feedback. And so we're at a time in our evolution, both humankind and the plants and animals, the global system, where our ecosystem is a little sick. We feel sick personally, not well because of the stress in our lives, and our global environment sick as well. And so what could we do as humans who can think and use the superpower of our imagination to imagine what might be if we did just the right thing? So I have an idea about what is the right thing. And that idea is attunement. So let me explain attunement really quick. Attunement means sensing, mindfully sensing inside of yourself, tuning into yourself with acceptance and care. Whatever's coming up for you in the moment, you feel into yourself with acceptance and care. And there's also a wish for the highest good. So there's this quality of wanting things to be better right here. But attunement needs someone else to really, you need a subject, you need an object, and you need the interaction between the two for there really to be attunement. This is kind of like mindfulness is what I described, sensing to yourself with acceptance and care, but where the rubber of mindfulness meets the road of life, that's attunement. And it's mindfulness with a purpose. And so when human beings learn how to attune to themselves with acceptance and care and a wish for the highest good, and to others with acceptance and care and a wish for the highest good over there, and also the dynamic, like what's happening right now in this context, then things begin to improve. First, locally, you start to feel better. When you amplify your own goodness and your intention to be good to yourself and others, it feels good. And this isn't just, my opinion or spiritual psychobabble. This is hard science. Mm-hmm. When people attune to what feels good in your subtle insides, you change your biochemistry. Your heart rate slows, your heart rate variability changes, your blood pressure lowers, your cortisol and adrenaline, those stress chemicals lower. You function less off of the fight, flight, or freeze part of your nervous system and more in the rest and digest part of your nervous system. You sleep better. And when you sleep better, you think better. You're able to be more mindful and attune more skillfully in all of your interactions, not only at home, so your relationships improve and your parenting improves and your relationship with your spouse improves. And then, so not only that, but at work too. And so work, you show up and you function better, you succeed with your colleagues more. Whatever is that thing that's happening there happens with more goodness. And hopefully, if you guys, really get on board to wake yourself up, whatever you're doing at work, it's bigger than just what you're doing. You see that you're also part of a global system and that you want to participate through the work that you're doing to make things better as a whole. So this is, I'll get off my soapbox. That's my answer. That's my answer for what's the most important thing to do now. And so let's have a conversation. Did you get any questions or anything?
I wanted to just announce again that please type your questions there in the comment box. Like it if you like it, love it. Hit share. There's a little share button you can hit. That way your friends can see this kind of cool thing that you're tapped into, and you can show that with them. So I had a quick question just to bring it back to the attunement piece. I'm wondering, so say I'm just hearing about attunement right now.
Yeah.
I think that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
I'm putting it on the spot a little bit, but I know you're good at that.
Okay.
So we're all good?
Yeah.
Where have I seen attunement in my life that I can be like, oh, that was attunement?
Okay. So when you felt really heard by someone, so when you had something that was up for you and you felt like there was a need, there was an emotional need in you, and you were like, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get this across to that person. And then all of a sudden, you're sitting there with that person and you're expressing yourself in the best way you know how, and it's landing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no interrupting. It's just like, oh yeah, and you felt heard. And in the end, after you've said your piece, the person maybe paraphrases and said, I think what you said was this. Did I get that right?
Mm-hmm.
And I see how you can feel that way. And here's how I view the situation.
Sure.
So it's like that.
So is that us attuning together, myself feeling attunement, or kind of both?
Okay, so that's good. So emotions are actually infectious. And so if I start attuning to you, what's going to happen is you have mirror neurons. Do you guys know what mirror neurons are?
So I'll ask on behalf of everyone.
Yeah, so what mirror neurons are is we all grow up and learn by mimicking what we see. And so babies are constantly mimicking and repeating and learning the states that they see outside of themselves, the emotional states and what happens outside of themselves through their mirror neurons. That's how they begin to take on the feelings of the context, the family dynamic, right? So, but mirror neurons don't go away when you grow up. We all have mirror neurons. And when you attune to someone and you feel attuned to, your mirror neurons are going to light up. If I attune to you, Nick, unconsciously, like you won't have to try, you might begin orienting that way just because of how I'm showing up for you. If I hold space for you, all of a sudden you're holding the space for yourself and me.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I'm trying to think about that globally too, and I'm kind of picturing that as like, well, if I'm showing up for the world in that way, essentially my world, or however big I want to see that, will see and feel that.
Right, exactly. And so the thing to know about attunement is you know it because you can feel it. And it really feels good. It feels good to be heard. It feels good to express feelings and needs. It's these soft skills that really help people succeed in life. It's the social emotional things that we learn that amplify the goodness in our lives. When we have really good social and emotional skills, our relationships are improved. And we're social creatures. And so our health depends on the health of our relationships. And it all starts with attunement. Mm-hmm. Nobody gets through life sort of narcissistically abusing other people and clutching and bringing things to him or herself without suffering as a result. Now we see that in the world. There are people that are out there that are more self-oriented, but those people suffer more. Mm-hmm. And I'm maybe not in the majority here, but I don't believe there are bad people. I believe that people can learn some bad habits, but that's mostly based on childhood, family dynamics, culture, and if we learn some really good habits, and we can, as adults, we can make that choice. We can train ourselves. If we want to become better, there's a practice that you can engage in. And you can decide to do that, because becoming something that you aren't skillful at right now requires the practice. And then so you do this practicing, then you're in your life and you're doing it better. Then you get the results of better doing, more skillful interaction. And then later on, because of the practice, you get to have the goodness. Mm-hmm. That's the way it works. And so that's how the becoming happens. That's how the trophic cascade evolves and grows. It's not an instantaneous thing, but all of a sudden wolves show up and they're being themselves in an environment. They do what they do, and later on, the whole system is having a better experience. So that's the way it works.
So if we can stop for a second and address, Adina.
Hey, Adina.
So Adina has a question.
Oh, great.
So Adina says, so on that attunement with another, when someone is engaged in hostile behavior and I want to diffuse it, model, mirror, the peaceful mindset I want to get to them in. So do I mirror the peace that I want to get them in? And how do I stay centered and not be reactive so I can set the mirror neuron tone?
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a fantastic question. So you have to remain committed to your state. And that requires sitting in the fire of the emotion. So, and I'm still practicing this too.
This is not
easy. Not easy. Because when it happens in the moment, you do feel emotion arise. And the way one of my meditation teachers, Shinzen Young, describes it, he says the emotion goes global. And you can all relate to where you feel the emotion, maybe it's sort of in your chest area, but then all of a sudden it's, and it goes into your fingers and arms and the whole thing, that wave of feeling that globally expands very quickly can take you over. And unless you've set the intention ahead of time to attune and to watch what's happening inside you with acceptance and care and a wish for the highest good, like you have to set yourself up that way ahead of time. Because if you don't, without the intention to attune, most of us just show up and we might be hungry, lonely, tired, whatever, stressed out, and without the intention, we need another amplified emotion, somebody with an amplified emotion, and that person trips your trigger before you're able to get a handle on it. So setting intentions ahead of time, prime ahead of time is what we're teaching. And it's a practice.
We know we're gonna meet that person somewhere, so we can do that practice,
especially in your family.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so this is the thing. Family is the proving ground, because we all, we're walking around in our underwear in our house. We're letting it all hang out. We're brushing our teeth in front of each other. The bathroom door's open. So this is how it is to live with other people intimately. And sometimes we forget to be our best selves, especially with the people that we love the most. And so attunement starts at home first. That you gotta get your handle around the attunement inside your family.
I'm open to endless reminders of that, because it's always good to be present with family. And I have a quick example of emotion going global. When a cockroach joined me in the shower today. I did not have an intention set for that.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah.
So I felt that going global. It's almost like, is it the Hulk where it goes out of your hands?
Yeah, right.
Like that happened to me.
Yeah.
So feel that.
Yeah. And it's interesting to watch that.
It would have been interesting to watch.
Yeah, if you are attuned to that and you feel that, it's a strange thing to watch. But you can when you set yourself up ahead of time. It's all just it's a practice in presence. That's really what attunement is. It's an intentional presence that says, I'm going to sit in the fire of whatever this is with acceptance and care and try to make this a better situation. So
yeah, okay, that's awesome. So welcome to everyone who's joined.
Lots
as we started talking.
Comments. Thank you so much.
As it says there, please type your questions, comments, feedback.
Hey, Sandra. Oh my gosh.
Share, you can
lady?
click share, you can click like, love, and if you'd like to, you can comment with a birthday cake or a party hat because it's Linda Pirtle's birthday. Happy birthday, Linda.
Honey.
Yeah, she's the best. She holds it down. She's an amazing woman.
She's an amazing woman.
Some of y'all know.
She's a rock.
Feel free to comment a happy birthday on there. So, yeah. Okay, cool. So if we don't see any other questions right now, we'll keep going then.
Yeah. Okay. So if some of you are wondering like how to do it, attunement shows up in let me just talk about, because we talked about being, doing. Thank you for the love, whoever did that. The being, doing, and having. The being is in the moment. Like you have to prime yourself and practice to be in this way, and the doing is what you say and do. It's either going to be skillful or not, and then you get to have the results of your skillfulness or lack of skillfulness. That's just sort of the way it works, right?
You get it.
So being, doing, and having. Mm-hmm. And there are trainings. And this is what we're doing in Skillfully Aware class, actually. We teach these 3 trainings, the being, doing, and the having. And the being is all about, we train in ethics, a virtues-based ethics, 3 ways to think, 4 ways to speak, and 3 ways to act that bring not only goodness immediately inside of you, you're the immediate beneficiary of the goodness that you create and spread. But that goodness does spread out. It ripples out to affect your local ecosystem. So you begin to experience the goodness of the ethics that we teach. And then the doing is actually the attunement based, it's mindfulness based or virtues based presence. That practice is taught with some very simple practices. Some people think meditation and mindfulness are hard. They're actually really easy and can be explained in plain English with really easy to follow diagrams that everybody can get. And once you have the diagram or the image of what mindfulness really looks like in your mind. And so let me just tell you the image that we teach in Skillfully Aware. So we have this symbol for consciousness on one of the slides that I show. And it's an eyes and a nose, and it's just looking, right? And what comes from those eyes and nose is an arrow of attention that's pointed towards something. And so that's us. That's the subject paying attention to an object. You need to consciously place your attention when you're attuning. And at the same time, there's this sort of a sun that looks like the rays of a sun of arrows going out away from those eyes and nose. And so there's this long arrow of attention, but there's this circle of smaller arrows that is awareness. And awareness is not a local attention, but it's a global awareness of what's happening in the world around me, what I see and I hear, in my body, what I'm feeling, and in my mind, what I'm thinking. And so that you get training in setting up your consciousness. Like you can prime ahead of time to set up your consciousness very skillfully, very quickly, to monitor and modify what's happening, what's coming at you, what's coming from you. And so more and more skillful words come out of your mouth and behaviors start to show up. And actually then you get to have the 3rd training, which is the having piece. And the having, thanks for the love, and the having, oh, you guys, thank you. And the having is the wisdom. You actually gain in wisdom. Thank you so much for that. You gain in an understanding of how it works, how this whole living dynamic, how you can feel good most of the time. Your health will improve. Your relationships will improve. it ripples out to improve your work and your purposefulness in life, your relationships with your kids, and the work you do in the world. And ultimately, like, imagine if we all lived this way and knew for sure that this was the evidence-based way to make life, our personal lives, the lives of the people we know and love, but also the lives of everyone else on this planet and all the living creatures on this planet, if we knew for sure that what we were doing was the thing. And I'm telling you, thank you for that. I'm telling you, if you practice enough, you will absolutely come to the same conclusion, that the most important thing to do right now is learn these attunement skills so you can show up better for yourself and your relationships and the world at large. That's the most important thing we can do.
And hence the title of the Facebook Live.
Yeah.
That's great. So can I ask, like, this is a general question. We're seeing some people really promoting meditation on the comments. Heck yeah. I'm been meditating for like 2 months. Also some awesome birthday shout outs to Linda. Happy birthday. So yeah,
Jerry,
I'm a couple months in. I've taken Mark's class. I kind of started meditating a little bit before that. I'm seeing that effect.
hi, Stephanie.
So kind of one of my questions is, and maybe someone else has this question, looks like there's 20 people watching, about 19 people. So heck yeah, everybody. Is it even possible to quantify time here, Mark? Like, is 30 minutes a day? Like, you know how people talk about exercise?
Yeah, sure.
All right, I'm not trying to say like I want abs in 5 minutes a day. You know what I mean? But like,
okay.
what if I had 20 minutes a day to give to attunement?
Thank you.
Is that sufficient? Because it can feel really daunting. It can feel like I have to change my entire life, and really you're almost just like getting better at getting into those parts of your life when you're really doing awesome.
Right. Okay. So, and everybody struggles with doing something new. No problem. I mean, no question. Everybody's going to struggle. Oh gosh, I'm already stressed out. Now you want me to meditate for 10 minutes? But I can only share from my own experience. I'm a busy person. I've got so much going right now, and it's wonderful. And I'm still meditating about 45 minutes or an hour a day. Why? Because it gives me so much. I get so much from my practice. If I'm not sleeping well, when I meditate, I actually need less sleep. It nourishes my brain. It's healthy for my heart. It helps me in so many ways. If I didn't meditate, if I didn't take that time to find the peace inside of myself and upgrade my skills when I'm working with my mind, I wouldn't be able to function as well as I function. I credit everything to who I am now. If you guys could have known me 18, 20 years ago, a completely different person. Good person, but emotionally immature, and didn't have my values as I would say as tuned towards others in the world, more towards myself, and so my growth, I would say, I can completely attribute it to my spiritual practice. And I do say spiritual. I'm not a religious person. I find my divinity within the life that resides inside of me and in others and life on the planet. And I just want to honor all of that. And I find that through my spiritual practice. So yeah, it's something that when a person really decides that they've sort of had enough of the old and they're ready for something new. Like you can't change unless you change. You really do have to begin to practice something new because, like I said before, without the practice, there's no becoming, right?
Mm-hmm. So Vardy says, yeah, the concept of adding something to a schedule has to be addressed because we are doing something rather than simply being, which is true. And it looks like Mark responded and said an old Taoist saying,
I love that.
You should meditate 20 minutes a day. If you don't have time, you should meditate an hour a day. Now, those are really cool. I've also heard if I meditate an hour a day, I actually gain an hour a day. You know what I mean?
It's probably true.
But that doesn't totally, those are really cool. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't totally jive with me if I work 10 hours a day. I have kids. I pick them up. I make dinner. I, finish up the house. So let's
talk about that.
There is a little bit, and I think personally, I am meditating right now 15 minutes a day. Mm-hmm. I know that's not huge.
It's a start.
But it's a start.
No judgment from me.
What I think is okay about that to me is the intention is there, and part of the attunement piece is starting with that intention. So I don't want anyone to feel like, geez, that's too much, because it really comes into something that totally centers me every day. Mm-hmm. And having that routine, personally, I do this in the morning. Mm-hmm. It is something I crave now in my morning, and it sets me up to have a killer day. Yeah. Like it's totally necessary for me to have an awesome day at this point.
So one of the best ways to sort of set yourself up for success in the beginning is if you say, I want to meditate, and then just think of, okay, well, how much time? Because that's going to come up for you. And then you may hear that 20 minutes is good. But you're thinking inside of yourself, you can already feel, I don't think I'm going to do 20 minutes. Don't commit to 20 minutes. Cut it down. Think 15 minutes. And if it's still like, I don't know, get to the point where even if it's like 5 minutes, I could do 5. Start there. Mm-hmm. Because the most important thing to do is to start your practice. Get some time on the cushion or in a chair, actually meditating. Get a teacher, find somebody that can teach you, so you don't just sit there and daydream for 5 minutes and then a month later you're like, this isn't helping me at all. Actually get some good instruction and start meditating, and even 5 minutes a day, you'll start to see some incremental improvement, not only in how you show up for yourself, but for your life. And you may get some feedback. It seems like you're handling your stress a little bit better, and then you may come to the point 6 weeks into it where, I think I'm going to go 10. I'm getting so much out of this. And the next thing you know, you're going to be kind of like me, where, if I had more time, I would sit longer. I love to meditate. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to do it all in one shot. So if you really like to meditate like me, sometimes what I do is I'll meditate for a half an hour, and then I'll take a break. And after lunch, I'll sit for 15 minutes. And then after dinner, when Linda and Alana are taking a shower, I'll take a quick 10-minute sit. And then before bed, I'll sit for another 20 minutes. So I can spread it out, and you can do it that way too.
So we have a couple other questions. One is kind of on topic right here that we've been talking to, and one we missed as the comments went flying. So the one that we missed was, okay, I'm there, I'm working hard, I'm doing this, but what happens when I do get triggered? I am getting triggered in this conversation. So that's one. Okay. The second question is, what about yin yoga? Is that like meditation?
Okay. Well, let me take the first one first. So if you've primed yourself and you are getting triggered in an interaction with somebody, and you have set the intention to sense inside of yourself and the other person with acceptance and care and the wish for the highest good, if you start to get to the red line, just recognize that's totally okay, and you're allowed to have big feelings. And just ask in a kind way if we could table this conversation. I'm kind of feeling a little overwhelmed right now. Maybe it's better that we talk about this a little bit later. Let me just take a break. That is totally okay and well within your right to set a boundary for yourself. Now the yin yoga thing, I'm not absolutely sure what yin yoga is. I'm a generalist in terms of my understanding of yoga, but you can't. I will say that you can't really have mindfulness without mindfulness of the body, and that's what yoga is all about. Yoga is all about coming home to yourself, and the truth is that we actually grow up, meaning become more mature through our senses. This is the way children grow up as well. You think it's because we're teaching them. It's actually because they're able to sense more accurately. They're able to feel themselves. First, they don't even know that they're embodied. Then they begin to feel that they have a body that's separate from others and things, and they learn to negotiate the world, and you grow up through your senses and interaction with other people. And through meditation and yoga practice, you can grow your senses to the point where your awareness becomes, so that's that global sense of your experience, not like direct. It's global, and I can actually lead you all on a quick meditation so you can experience what I'm talking about. But you can actually lose the sense of the edges of your body as you grow up. You still are embodied, but you feel more energetic, like there's an aliveness, and I'm less separate from the world. It becomes very unifying, and that's how consciousness kind of grows up in that direction. Is anybody interested in a quick meditation where I can open the doors of your awareness? Do you want me to try to do that for you all?
I think that'd be pretty cool. So we're 42 minutes in. I just wanted to give a quick announcement.
All right.
Thank you everyone for joining and sharing and liking and loving. You can still do that. We're going to keep going here as long as we have questions, really. And really appreciate the comments that are happening and about yoga. I'm a huge yin yoga person. So totally.
You should have asked him.
Oh, it's all good. You're the meditation guy, but it's totally similar. It almost preps me. I feel like it's kind of like a yin yang type thing where that's kind of the body piece. Yeah. And meditate. And for me, I'm still trying to get more flexible so I can sit, in a pose and without pain. So I think that's a big thing. And I just wanted to mention before we get into the meditation, looks like we have some props. Yeah, we should do the meditation. So Mark is teaching a couple classes. He's teaching a live class here in Tucson, Arizona. It starts August 5th. You can see plenty of images about that and links on the Skillfully Aware Facebook page. And we'll post a link here as well. It's a 6-week course. I know a couple of people in the comments have taken that. It's an awesome class. I took that. Yeah. Kind of how I met Mark. So stay tuned for a link to that. It comes highly recommended. And if you have any questions, just message us. Use promo code BeHappy. So just one word, BeHappy. You'll save $100 on the class. So there's that. If you're not in Tucson, you can still take the class. We're starting a class at the beginning of September, and it's going to be online. So anywhere in the world, you can take this class. So same class, 6 weeks.
We just do it like this.
Yep.
The live online class is exactly like this, and I share my screen so you see all my slides.
So you see the slides.
Yeah.
You get all the PDFs of the book, and if you're in the Tucson class, you get the awesome book that I have on my nightstand. I can go back to. You get the practices. So just a quick announcement there. It looks like we have another question. Do we want to do a question? Sure. Let's do a question from Mariel or Marl or Marielle.
Yeah, Marielle.
Yeah, okay. What's your thoughts on working on trusting your body when you don't trust it? Body image of society, etc. How do you stop the judgments and work on radical acceptance and appreciation of body image? Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that
LOL,
makes sense.
No LOL needed.
Yeah,
that totally makes sense.
So I understand that. And most of us do. I mean, it's the rare person with the perfect body. And our society does really put a lot of emphasis on that body image. And so a lot of us carry around the sense of insecurity as relates to the way our bodies look. So how do you work with that? That's a part of not just, I would say, meditation practice. It's more, I would say working on a body image is more specifically in the realm of talking with a wise and kind person. If you develop relationships with wise and kind people, those are going to be the people that accept you for exactly who you are. And when you're in a community of wise and kind people who see how lovable you are, you're going to stop wondering if you're lovable. That's, the best medicine for insecurity is love of wise and kind people who accept you for exactly who you are. Then you'll stop questioning that.
And then those other things kind of fall off.
Everything just falls
the radar.
Away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not something you're specifically going to get from a meditation practice, although you do begin to let go of some of the significant attachments to a strong sense of self. That's a part of it. But, my experience is that, wise and kind people help the most in that regard.
Okay, so we have an add-on to that question, kind of as you're talking there. What about trusting your instinct when you're experiencing a time when you're not totally trusting yourself, which we all get there. Mm-hmm. Even when you're just killing it at life, there's that time where you're like, wow, what am I doing right now? Like, how do you just go back and trust that you've been doing this work, you're there, you can still be there, almost like when you're not feeling it?
Yeah. There's a lot of ways to help yourself through trust issues. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, where you become your own best cheerleader inside of yourself, priming yourself ahead of time, priming for positivity, orienting yourself towards what are called the three transcendentals. We teach this in Skillfully Aware class: beauty, truth, and goodness. When oftentimes in life we develop or accentuate a negative attentional bias, our attention sort of circles around the toilet bowl of negativities. And it's at times like that when wise and kind people help the most, but also you holding staff for yourself in really skillful ways. So consciously orienting towards more beauty, truth, and goodness, because when you do orient towards those three transcendentals, goodness feels good. Goodness of connection. Beauty is inspiring. Truth, you can hang on that and find strength in that. So again, I don't want to get too philosophical with this answer, but reading books that present ideas that seed your consciousness with more beauty, truth, and goodness is also great medicine. I hope that answered your question, Adina.
It's great. Okay, cool. Yeah, and I don't see any other questions now, so maybe we're about 48 minutes in. Thanks everyone again. Keep liking, sharing, comment to us. As you've seen there, email us, info@skillfullyaware. If you have a question you don't feel like posting, totally cool. Do you want to do the guided meditation?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's just end our time together with an attunement practice, okay? So all I want all of us to do is just sit up nice and straight. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate you guys. I really do. I wish we were all in the same room together. It'd be so great to see your faces. But let's sit up straight and let's pretend we are in the same room and look at each other. And what I want you to do is, yes, you're looking at perhaps an image of me or Nick, but what I want you to do is I want you to sense inside of yourself first. I want you to open up to feel what it feels like in your body. Below your eyes, there's this alive space. And strangely, you can't really feel the edges of a body. You just feel the energetic sensations. Like right now, feel your warmth. Right now, feel warmth. And notice that it's just trailing away from you like a fog. Feel the tingling in your hands and your feet. And notice tingling doesn't make the shape of hands or feet. It's just energy in a space. And feel the breath moving in and out. The whole expanse from the cooling air swirling through the bones of your face. Feel that. That subtle swirl and tingle all the way down your throat into your lungs and abdomen. Feel the whole energy of a breath. It starts to feel outside of you, and that's how I want you to feel right now. That's attunement. Feel the energy of the space that you're sitting in, not in a woo-woo kind of way, but actually open your senses. And then notice the mind right behind your eyes that's looking. It's just a quiet space looking. Even do this. Listen to the middle of your head as you listen to me. And notice that quiet that's there. Now you're attuned to yourself. And just accept with carefulness and gentleness whatever's present and a wish for the highest good. Thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for letting me lead you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks everybody. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Good work. I love this guy.
Thanks.
He's awesome. So we're going to go out on a happy birthday note for Linda here.
Oh, yeah, great.
I got the best birthday song queued up. Stay with us if you want. Sing along at home. Thanks, everybody. Hit us up. Message us. Email us.
Yeah.
As you can see, the promo code there, happy20, get you a discount on the class. Just reach out if you're like, I kind of like this class. What do you think I should do? Just reach out. Mark's open book. Linda's amazing. You know, we can always figure out a way to get you in the class. Thanks everyone for joining. We'll be having a couple more Facebook Lives coming up.
Let me also say nobody gets turned away for lack of funds either.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Okay, so we're going to get started here with this.
All right. Stevie Wonder.
All right. You see this? It's a birthday ice cream cone of flowers for Linda.
Happy birthday, Linda. I love you. Thanks, everybody.
We got birthday gifts. This is the live version, so it's 7 minutes long. We don't have to listen to the whole thing.
All right. Love you guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.